Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. It is morning up here in Cuyuna. I saw this stuff yesterday. Triple shot energy. Holy moly, it's all I have for coffee this morning. So, it's what I'm drinking. Just a little update for you. I did not bring any video editing equipment up with me this weekend. I usually bring my laptop so I can edit videos, but my focus this weekend is to ride. I have Schwamigan next weekend, Schwamigan 40. If you don't know anything about that race, it's basically a wide trail. It's actually a cross-country ski trail for a big chunk of it, and then a bunch of fire roads. So it's not single track, so it's not your typical mountain bike style race. It is double track, cross-country ski trail. It is fast. There are some people, I believe they average like 17 or 18 miles per hour on that race, and that isn't going to be me, of course. And they need to get the 40 miles done in like right around 2 hours or just over 2 hours. I don't remember, but I know there's some crazy fast people. So I used to call it a road race on dirt, because that's essentially the road bikers, or those guys that train like that, are usually the ones that are in the front. So anyway, I'm going to do that race. I've never actually raced it on my own. I've done bike patrol, so I've ridden a course many times, but this is going to be the first time I'm actually going to do the event. And I'm really excited about it. I've been wanting to do this for years, but I was always dedicated to volunteering. But I'm 54. I stopped doing bike patrol. I resigned, and I just really want to focus on myself, my riding. I've done so much volunteering in the mountain bike world for probably the last 20 years. It's time for me to do what I want to do. So if you're wondering why I left the bike patrol, that's why. I love the bike patrol. I love the people in it, but I want to focus on me. I only have how many ever years left I have to be, still feel young and still do this. I think my knee replacement really changed my attitude. I was like, hey, I still have many years in my life left to do this, so I'm gonna do it, and that's what it's all about. So let's start with the Esker Hayduke. The big thing I did here was I changed the tire size. So this bike came with 2.8s, and I put 2.6s on it. They're the Maxxis Recon tires. These are the same tires that are on my low side, except this is a little bit smaller in diameter. So when you go to a smaller tire, the knobbies are a little closer together. These are fast rolling tires. They're good for hard pack and that kind of trail. The smaller diameter is going to be a little lighter. But I really like these tires on this bike. I don't think these rims are really set up for plus tires. They're too narrow, and so the plus tires just flex too much. You need a wider rim. I mentioned this in my why do we have airplanes here. I swear I can't get away from airplanes. Look at that guy, corporate jet going to Brainerd, I bet. I feel like every time I'm doing these updates, there's always an airplane. This just cracks me up. So anyway, so the smaller diameter just works with these rims better. And if you watched my video recently on Monarch, you'll hear me, of course it's a longer video, so it's somewhere in there, but you'll hear me talk a little bit about how I like these tires a lot better, and how if you do run a plus tire, a 2.8, a 3.0, you really want a 35 millimeter or even a 40 millimeter wide rim. The width of the rims on my low side are 35, and that's the inner width, I believe, and they work great with 2.8 tires. So running like a 30 millimeter, which is what I believe these are, with a 2.8 tire, the rim just doesn't give that bigger tire enough support. The tire just tends to side flex. So that's why I wanted to go to a smaller tire. Esker on their website says you can go down to a 2.3 on this bike. So I went to 2.6. I want this bike to be as fast as I can make it for that race. My goal is to do it in under 4 hours. I think that's probably, going to be easily achievable. So somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. The closer I can get to 3 hours, the more stoked I will be. But to do it in 3 hours is pretty fast. But if I can do it in under 4, that'll happen. If I have no mechanicals, I don't bonk, anything like that. If I can keep a good, consistent pace, should be able to do it in under 4 hours. So that's what I'm hoping for, but I want my bike set up for it. So that's the Esker. Just went to a slightly smaller tire, and I really like these tires. They're fast rolling. They still grip really well in the corners. I mean, these knobbies do really well. It's pretty sweet. I love it. Probably the tire I don't hear talked about that much, because everybody's all about the really aggressive tires for downhill, like what you see on here, the DHR and DHF and stuff like that. You hear about the aggressors a lot now, the acid guys, all those tires. But these Recons, especially if you're looking for some speed and more of a cross country or kind of in between kind of tire that has better rolling but still good traction, these are really good. I like them. So anyway, let's talk about the Rocky Mountain. This bike here, I did get it back from the shop, so I'm pretty excited that I get to ride it this weekend up here in Cuyuna. So I'll do a video of me, probably my third ride on this bike, review of what it's like in Cuyuna, and I'll be able to compare how it feels compared to what my Ripmo AF felt, because the whole idea behind this bike is it's a smaller bike, 27.5 wheel. It should be more agile, easier for me to throw around, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll also be able to kind of compare it to the co-op bike that I rode recently up here, and just talk kind of about the differences and how, if this idea of mine of going to a smaller bike, smaller diameter, is really what I think it's going to be all about. So I did get the tire issue resolved. It's kind of funny. I took it to the shop because I wasn't sure why the tire was going flat. And if you see my video on Cottage Grove, I actually mentioned that it's probably something to do with the valve, because I didn't see any leaking coming around the side of the tire or any sealant coming out or anything. And sure enough, the core was loose in the valve. So something I could have easily just tightened and fixed on my own. But I just got it from the shop, so I figured I don't have a lot of time to investigate this stuff right now, so I just took it to them. They were able to do it. They took the shock part, added another volume spacer, so I'm hoping that will help it and prevent it from bottoming out so easily. So I'll get to try that out. Pretty stoked, and things like that. So this bike's getting more dialed, ready to go. I do have some parts. They got delivered, but I haven't been able to install them. I have XT brakes that I ordered. I don't like these big levers, although I think I mentioned this before. These will go on my fat bike. I think these brakes will be perfect on my fat bike. So, with gloves and stuff, these bigger levers will actually be nicer. So I'll be putting the XT brakes on this bike. Probably not until after Cuyuna, because I just don't have time to do it right now. And I have some XT cranks. My Wolf Tooth chainring came in, so I'll be able to install the XT cranks on here whenever I get a chance. And then future upgrades that I plan to possibly do is XT rear derailleur. I might update the cassette. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till this one wears out and then I'll update it. But I'm definitely looking at getting an XT rear derailleur, and that'll mean a new shifter. I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this shifter mounts to the brake lever. I do not know if those XT levers will allow me to do this. So I might either have to see if they make a clamp for this shifter, or I might have to just update the shifter right away when I put the XT brakes on. I have some Wolf Tooth components coming. I got Wolf Tooth grips that are going to go on here. My NK system will go in here, which is the tools that go in the end of the handlebars. Those were on my Ripmo AF. They'll go on here. I want to update to a Wolf Tooth dropper lever. They're just so much nicer. This one's plastic. It's okay, but I really like the Wolf Tooth stuff. We'll have a Wolf Tooth chainring. I'm all about the Wolf Tooth. I mean, they're a Minnesota-based company. The stuff is made in the U.S., so I love supporting them. And I got that chain ring and grips from them just the other day, so pretty stoked. All right, so the Instinct is going to get updated, and I'll probably be talking about this bike probably as we go into winter quite a bit, since it's a new bike and I like to talk about this stuff and my upgrades and all that. As far as rear shock goes, we'll see how this volume spacer helps or whatever, but I'm already talking about a DVO Topaz upgrade on this bike, and the shop that I got this from, which is actually Tonka Cycle and Ski, in case you're wondering, the shop that I got this from, and they're helping me out. They have updated their bikes with Topaz, and they love the Topaz, and the Topaz was what was on my Ripmoya. So that might be an update I do. We'll see what happens. But yeah, super stoked. There we go. Rocky Mountain, Esker. I'm stoked. I'm going to ride this weekend. You'll see this video. I might do a couple more updates throughout the weekend, and then maybe during the week I'll have a couple of videos that I can do some more fancy editing with. I have a couple how-to ideas. We'll see what happens. I really want to focus on riding, preparing for the Schwam again, but I'll see what other videos I can squeeze in. Peace. Really appreciate your support for my channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Subscribing really helps me out. Just trying to get those numbers up there.